Hey guys, I'm Deepthi Desikan and today's video is gonna be me trying out all the products that I picked up during the Nykaa Hot Pink sale. So I just wanted to show you guys how these products perform, talk to you guys about it, and also along with demoing those makeup products, I'm also going to be demoing these brushes. This is actually a brush set from Plume brushes, and these are a set of 23 brushes. Also, I will show you guys a clip of the brushes clean because right now they are quite messy, and also demoing these sponges that they have and the Plume Silk Blur Moisturizing Primer. You can see all of this in action in today's video. So let's get to the tutorial and then I'll tell you guys my final thoughts on all of these products. Now firstly, taking this LA Girl Brow Pomade in the shade Dark Brown with this Plume P15 brush. This has an angled side on one end and a spoolie on the other end, so it's perfect to fill in your brows, especially if you use pomades. It's been a while since I've actually used a pomade on my eyebrow, and I've always been using eyebrow pencils, so I thought I should really bust this back in and use it. I feel like it's very easy to fill in your brows with pomade, especially if you are a beginner as well, and if you want like fuller looking eyebrows, pomades do it for you. For me, it can be a little bit too stark, so I have to go with a very light hand, and this brush is really nice and precise. So now just meshing the product in with my hair with the spoolie. And one thing when you use brow pomade is that you don't really have to set your brows in place because the pomade is a little bit waxy that it holds the eyebrow hair in place. You can of course go ahead and set it, but I don't find the need to do that. Now let's move on to the eyes. To conceal my eyelid, I'm going to be using this e.l.f. Camo Concealer. I like this one because it doesn't really crease as much on my eyelid, and it also masks the pigmentation of my eyelid. To blend my concealer, I'm going to be using this Plume P18 brush. So ideally, I like to use these kind of brushes which have a little bit of a thicker tip to blend my concealer, as opposed to picking up shimmer shades with this. For eyeshadow, today I'm going to be using this one. This is the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde eyeshadow palette. A lot of you guys wanted me to use this, show you guys how it performs. So that's exactly what I'm going to be doing today. So firstly, taking this brush, this is the Plume P24 brush, and using this to apply this shade on my outer corner. It's a nice shade, but it's not as pigmented as I want it to be, especially on my skin tone. So that's the reason I've taken this one, because I'm going to be using another shade on top of this. It's sort of like a purplish kind of shade. Now, if you are of a lighter skin tone than I am, it would show up a lot more pigmented on your eyelids. Now, taking the Plume P19 brush and taking this shade right here, which is called Vortex, on my outer corner. Just concentrating it towards the outer part of my eyelid. I'm using this kind of a brush because I can use it with a little bit more precision and apply the shades with a little bit more precision. Now taking the Plume P24 brush with which I applied that other shade, and just taking it with a very light hand and meshing these two shades together. And now with a more defined crease brush like this one, this is the Plume P22 brush, and taking this shade and kind of again blending all of these shades pretty well with that shade. It's a lighter shade. So what I'm doing is taking it into my crease a little bit, like dragging it in as a transition shade, as well as blending these shades together. Especially in the outer corner, I want it to look nice and blended. Now with all that blending, you can see that the intensity of that Vortex shade has reduced, so we're going to be building it up again. Taking this P09 brush, which is like a tapered crease brush, and again taking that off balance shade, just meshing all the shades together. And then now moving on to shimmer shades, we're going to be taking this Plume P11 brush, which is a flat shader brush, and taking this shade. This is like sort of like a bluish silver looking shade, and on the eye it looks a lot more lilac. For my inner corner, I want to take this shade which is called Supermoon on the P17 brush and applying it only towards the inner corner of my eye. Then taking this Plume P08 brush, which looks like a small pencil brush, but these are my favorite brushes to apply that kind of an eyelid color. Now taking the Huda Beauty Life Liner on a liner brush, just for precision, because why not? Using this Plume P14 brush and applying it. I am not going to be drawing a wing because I don't really like wing eyeliner on myself, but this brush is really nice if you want to apply a wing liner, if you want to apply your liner with precision. Then for mascara, I'm using my Mars Cosmetics mascara, which is my favorite mascara of all time. So now with the eyes done to this extent, I will apply the false lashes towards the end of the video, but let's move on to the face right now. So to prep my skin, firstly, I'm going to be using this Laneige water sleeping mask. I want to empty this up. So I feel like this is the only use I have for this particular product. I feel like it does help my makeup glide on really nice and smooth. So this is how I've been using this one. And then moving on to my face, to prime it, I'm going to be using this Plume Silk Blur Primer. This is a moisturizer cum primer, so you can use this on a daily basis if you want to, or you can use it whenever you're using your makeup, for your makeup to glide on smoothly, to blur your pores. So this is what the texture of the product looks like. It has a good pore filling aspect to it, as well as it does illuminate your face really well. It adds a nice glow to your skin. So this is something that you can use as a moisturizer, top it off with your sunscreen, or just use it underneath your makeup products. It also contains hyaluronic acid as well as avocado oil, which is a good hydrating ingredient. So next up, I'm going to be using one of my favorite products to add an extra glow. You guys know I love my foundation to have a nice glow to it. So I'm going to be using this one. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. I have this one in the shade Tan. I feel like this is something you can use again on a daily basis. Top it off with this for that extra glow if you have very dry skin, or it might be a little bit too much for you if you have like oily skin, but I like it. So now, before moving on to foundation, I'm going to be using the Huda Beauty Tan Tour product, which I did show you guys in my Nykaa haul. So this one is in the shade medium, which is a little bit dark for me, and that's the reason I'm going to be using this before my foundation. And I'm going to be taking it with this Plume P04 brush, which is a contour brush, and just applying it precisely. I might not use this brush to blend the product, but just to apply it, like the initial application. That's so dark. So now to blend all of this in, I'm going to be using the Plume microfiber sponge. This is a microfiber sponge, which means that it doesn't really absorb that much of a product. So if you're someone who doesn't really like to use sponge because you feel like it soaks up most of your product, you can try this one out. So I don't really like to wet this one. I like to use it a little bit dry, and I like to drag it like how you would use a foundation brush on my face, as opposed to like a stippling motion. And then for foundation, of course, I'm going to be using my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Foundation. Love this foundation. I have this one in the shade 7.5 Warm. Now, some people like to use foundation brushes like this one to first apply it on their face and then blend it with a sponge or a buffing brush. The whole key to this product is actually not using a lot. Just one pump should be sufficient for your entire face. So that's how the brand has recommended you use this. So on this side of my face, I'm going to be using this sponge. This is the Plume Celestial Makeup Sponge. This one is so soft and squishy, you guys. Like, look at that. Amazing. A really nice sponge, just blends in the product in no time. So on this side, I'm going to be using this brush. This is the Plume P03 brush. This is a flat top kabuki brush. I feel like the brush side, I did get slightly more coverage than the sponge side because of course the brush wouldn't soak in as much product. But I somehow liked using the sponge. Both the sponge and the brush give you really good application. But of course the brush side gives you a little bit more coverage than the sponge. So you can choose to apply your foundation however you like it. And now for concealer, I'm going to be using the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. This one is in the shade Tan Sand. Oh my god, the amount of waiting time for this. It was always out of stock. I had to wait for a really long time to get this concealer in my collection. So it has a nice big applicator. Now this is the thing that I find with international brands is that I don't really get my exact shade match, especially in the affordable brands. In NARS and other brands, I can at least find a shade that matches my skin tone to the dot. But look at this one. It looks a little bit peachy. And this can work for me when I have makeup on. But if I wanted to use it to spot conceal or just in general on days where I don't really use makeup, it wouldn't work for me. Now to blend this, I'm going to be using this P20 brush which has a pointed end like this. This brush is kind of big for my under eye area, so I'm going to be using the sponge itself. And another thing that I noticed is I have left this on my eye for quite some time but it hasn't dried down. Now lightly finishing up the lower lash line, taking this palette again, taking this brush that is P24, taking this shade, just lightly running it through my lower lash line, applying the kajal from the Huda Beauty liner. And now to set my under eye area, I'm going to be taking this brush. This is the Plume P23 brush, and taking my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. It's a nice powder brush. And for blush, I'm going to be using the Flower Beauty Blush Bomb, and this one is in the shade Bitten. It's a pigmented blush, so I'm going to be using very light hand with this one. Ooh. So taking the same brush which I use my foundation with and just pressing it in like that. Now since I blended everything, like there's no trace of bronzer on my face, I'm just going to be adding a little bit more warmth to my skin. I'm going to be using this brush. This is the P02 brush. And this is like an angled contour brush. Taking the Benefit Hoola Bronzer. Very slightly adding some warmth to my skin. I'm actually just lightly touching the brush. There's another brush in this set that is a Plume P01 brush which you can use to set the rest of your base with powder if you are someone who uses powder generally. I'm just going to be showing it to you guys, but I'm not someone who likes to powder down my entire face, so I'm just going to be powdering around my mouth, just here. I like to keep my base dewy and probably just set the lines on my forehead. This brush would certainly work for bronzer as well, like if you're looking to bronze up your skin, you can use this one. Now one brush which I haven't used in this one is the Plume P06 fan brush. This is for people who really like fan brushes, but you guys know my thoughts on fan brush. I'm not a very big fan of it. Now to spritz my face, I'm going to be using the PAC Micro Finish Makeup Fixer. Making sure there's no like visible lines on my face, even though the blush is actually forming a little bit of a line. And then now for highlight, of course, I'm going to be using the Hollywood Flawless filter itself as a highlighter because I really like this one as a highlight. It's a very natural looking highlight. It blends in no time. It just looks seamless on your skin. You can drag it all the way in if you want to. And it doesn't really emphasize a lot of texture. It is a dewy product. And if you have any kind of like bumps on your face, it will be more prominent. But I don't really mind that. And then now for lipstick, I'm going to be using this one. This one is the e.l.f. liquid lipstick in the shade Praline. I feel like it'll go really well with this eye look. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I have inserted a clip of my makeup without lashes so that you guys can see how it looks like bare eyes and also with lashes. These lashes are from PH Cosmetics. This is their Studio Pro lash in the number M203. I got this about like 2 or 3 years ago, and I'm finally using it right now. I really like these lashes actually. They look really natural. They were very easy to apply. Sometimes, you know, I'm having a tough time with lashes, and this was like a piece of cake. Anyways, let's get to the brushes. I'll tell you guys what are my favorite brushes and my thoughts on all of these products. You can pick up the entire brush set if you are a pro makeup artist, if you are someone who generally finds a lot of use out of these brushes, because they come in this case as well, which you can tie up around your waist, you can hang it, and then you can work on your clients. So you get all the brushes you would pretty much need. But if you're someone who might not use all these brushes, you can pick up their brushes individually as well. So from the face brushes, I absolutely loved these four. This is the P01 brush, that is the large powder brush. I like the P23, which is the smaller powder brush. I like the P03, which is the flat top kabuki brush, and also P02, which is an angled contour brush. So another brush that is also part of the face category, this one is the P21 brush. This is the flat top concealer brush. So this, you can actually use it to blend concealer on top of your lid, or say you want precise concealer blending, you can use this underneath your eyes, or anywhere you want more intricate application, you can use this. But in today's video, I used this brush to blend in my eyeshadow, like to blend the transition shade. That's what I use this for, and that's how I use most of these brushes for. So I prefer to call this one an eye brush as opposed to a face brush. And one thing I really like about these brushes are they are not flimsy. Like the bristles and the handle, it's intact, it's not moving around like some of these brushes, which, you know, it moves around a lot. It is not like that, so it is a lot more sturdier. Now coming to the eye brushes, I feel like all of these brushes were put together so well. Each of it has a purpose, and it's not like any of these brushes would go waste. Sometimes there are brushes that you wouldn't really need, but all of these brushes do work very well for the purpose that it's made for. And especially when you're creating a more complicated, intricate look, most of these eye brushes come really handy. So if you feel like you don't really want to buy the entire brush set, you can pick out the brushes that you really want to and try it out. And now let's move on to the sponges. This is the microfiber sponge. So this one does not absorb a lot of product, so you actually save about 40% of your makeup that is going on your face. Like, especially if you are someone with a very minimal makeup collection and you use it on a regular basis, you don't really want to use products that actually soak up a lot of your foundation or concealer that you're using on your face. So in that case, you would really like this sponge. And then the Celestial makeup sponge, I really like this one. This is really soft, like squishy. I really like that. You know how much I like my squishy makeup sponges. They are really soft. It blends everything. You can use this for your foundation, concealer, any cream product, cream blush, cream contour. Use it for multiple purposes. I really like this. So that is all the tools that we used in today's video. Let's talk about the Plume Silk Blur Moisturizing Primer. So this is something you can use on a daily basis, like in your daytime look. So if you want to just use this one, followed by a sunscreen and then a lipstick lip tint, you can try this out. It's very moisturizing. It does give you a pretty good glow, and it's a nice primer as well. It does hold on to your makeup product. My makeup looks really nice, soft, glowy, dewy. I really like that primer. And then let's move on to my next one. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. You have heard me talk about this so many times. I really love this product, you guys. It gives you the most natural dewy finish on your skin. It looks beautiful. Like, if this is the glow that I have on this side of my face, and it's not too much, but yet it's not too subtle, and it also does show up from underneath your foundation if you are using this. It depends on the amount of the product you want to use. I have seen that recently they have expanded the shade range, so you can get like a 4.5, like a medium tan shade, 5 tan. Depends on your skin tone. You can pick up whatever you like. I love the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish foundation. It looks like a pretty good match. I have it in the shade 7.5 warm. I was considering picking up the shade 8, but I thought it would be a little bit too warm because this foundation does dry down. It gives you really good coverage. Just like one pump is more than enough to give you a really good coverage and a nice skin-like finish. It doesn't look too much. Even though it is pretty full coverage, it doesn't look like it's caking up. And it is a really nice foundation if you want to use it for any special occasion. It photographs really well, looks good. And then the concealer, the e.l.f. concealer in the shade Tan Sand. I feel like it's a good match for me if I have makeup on, but not so much if I don't really have any makeup on my face. I feel like it's a little bit peachy for my liking. My perfect match in concealer is NARS concealer. It just looks like my skin. It covers everything that I want to, but if I was just to use just this concealer, I feel like it would look a little bit ashy on my pigmentation. but it's a full coverage long wearing concealer. And then the blush, oh my god, bitten. It's pigmented, so if you are someone who likes more of a like nude blush, they have a shade option for that. Do not pick up this shade, you guys, if you don't really like these kind of shades, because even a little bit, it's just intense pigmented, but it has a nice dewy finish and creamy look on your face. It's not like matte, it doesn't dry down just like that. So that's something that I really like about this product. It can work as a lip product as well, like whatever is excess, apply it on your lips. It works as a nice lip product. That's the reason I picked up this particular shade. So if I want to use it on a daily basis, it's really nice, creamy, and doesn't dry my lips out. So blend this one with a sponge, use a very sparing amount of it. And then what did I use? The Huda Beauty Tantour. I applied it with a light hand. I picked up just very little amount of product with this contour brush, and this was just one dip, but you saw how intense it went on. So that's the reason I applied it before my foundation, but I feel like the foundation did cover it up just a little bit. So, but yeah, it's a really nice product. It's very creamy. It can give you the right kind of shadow that you want. It's not too much, it looks too much, but if you use it with a very light hand, it would be more than sufficient. So if you are of my skin tone, pick up the shade light. I think that would work a lot better as opposed to medium, so that way you can go in a little bit more liberally. But this one you have to be like very scared to apply it each time, because little goes a long way. It's very pigmented and you can go overboard with it really fast. So that's the reason I use it before my foundation, so that I can go haphazardly and then blend it all over. And then what else did I use? So that's pretty much, so yeah, those were pretty much all the products that I used. Oh yeah, the main, I forgot this one. And this is the star of the show. This is the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde eyeshadow palette. I love this palette. I like the shimmer shades in this. I like the matte shades in this. But I feel like it's not pigmented enough, especially if you have pigmented eyelids or someone of my skin tone or deeper. It does show up on me, but if you are deeper, I can see that some of these shades might not even show up on you. It might be a little bit too light, and these shades wouldn't turn out to be as dark as it looks in the pan. Or if you watch some other tutorial and you're like, okay, I love this shade, it's like a nice deep purple shade and I want it to look just like that, it might not show up like that. It would be a lot more subtle. So this is not, in my opinion, deep skin tone friendly. So yeah, apart from that, beautiful. And then the e.l.f. liquid lipstick in the shade Praline, beautiful match with this look. It's a really nice cool toned shade, and it's not as drying as I expected it to be, because I have tried out this liquid lipstick in the past, which I have mentioned I think about 2 times on my channel already. But it used to be extremely drying, and they have changed the packaging and reformulated it, and it's a lot better now. I really like the shade, and I have been talking for quite some time now, and I don't find the need to lick my lips, so that's a good thing. So yeah, those were all the products that I tried out, and I've given you guys my full blown thoughts on these products. If the video seemed a little bit long, I'm really sorry, but there are a few people who don't really like these kind of videos where I explain everything in detail. But then when I don't do that, there are another group of people who are like, okay, why didn't you do that? We really like your detailed review. So I don't really know what to do, so I'm trying to balance out. So sometimes I make like smaller videos, sometimes I make really big videos, so that I can balance everything out. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what other videos you would like to watch. Leave them in the comment section down below, and while you're at it, give this video a big thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload a new video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.